This morning we've got a energizing morning flow, so basically just gonna take some time for ourselves this morning and wake everything up, wake the body up, wake the mind up, and hopefully leave you feeling pretty good for the rest of the day. So I mean, with this view, you can't really beat it, can you? So let's kick things off. So just coming into a comfortable seated position on your mat, crossing the legs and just closing down the eyes when you get there. So the spine is long, and relax the shoulders down and start to take some deeper inhales and exhales through the nose. So you might feel some flickering behind the eyelids still. Just seeing if you can soften anywhere in the body that might be tensing. So maybe behind the eyes, the shoulders, the jaw. And we'll lengthen the inhales and exhales, this time focusing now on filling the belly. So filling the belly as a first point, and then filling the chest and the lungs, the rib cage. Taking some deeper inhales here, and then exhaling everything out slowly as you go through the nose. So we're landing on the mat. Maybe bringing a smile to the face, just thanking yourself for taking the time this morning for yourself. It's a really beautiful habit to have before getting on with the rest of your day, and just giving your mind a break. Awesome. And to start off today, we are going to do some breath work, so a breathing exercise that's called Kapal Bhati. So some of you guys might have done this already, and for those of you who haven't, it's really simple. So on this point, you can open your eyes and just take a look and follow along. So all it is just a energizing, cleansing breath. For those of you who haven't done it before, just take a look. So all we're going to do is some forceful exhales from the nose, so keeping the mouth closed, and we'll just drive the breath from the belly. So it looks something like this. So it's quite sharp exhales, and all we're doing is kind of just letting everything go that we don't need anymore, so any stagnant breath, any stagnant air, and then we'll bring in some new fresh air. So we'll do 30 rounds of that, and then at the end of the last one, we'll inhale in the nose, through the nose, and just inhale everything as deep as you can and hold for as long as you can, and then I'll just guide the next one. So we'll do a couple of rounds of that, and then we'll move into some movement. So closing down the eyes, your hands can just rest on your lap. Spine is long, and taking a deep inhale through the nose. And we'll start. So exhale through the nose. Exhale everything out. Inhale, deep inhale through the nose. And hold when you get to the top. Relaxing the muscles, softening here. And we'll let everything go through the nose. Come back to a normal breathing rhythm. Take one normal inhale and exhale. And then one deep inhale. And we'll go for another round. Exhale everything out. Deep inhale, filling the belly, filling the lungs, holding at the top. And exhale, letting everything go through the nose again. Returning to a normal breathing rhythm. We'll bat the eyelids open and just start with some movement. So keeping the hands on the knees, we're going to make some big circles with the belly here. So exhaling, bringing the chin to the chest, and then inhaling, coming forward. So kind of taking cat-cow variations as we're sitting here. Rounding through the spine as you come back. And then when we get to the back here, take it on the other direction. Syncing up with the breath if you can. Taking big circles. Nice. And we'll come back to center again. And from here, hands will come up over the head, looking up in between the hands, and then bringing the right hand to the outside of the left knee. Left hand comes behind us, and we'll come into a twist here. Deep inhale, lengthening through the spine as you do, and then exhaling, seeing if you can twist a little deeper into the pose. Breathing into the belly, breathing into the lungs. Inhaling, hands come up above the head again, and we'll take it to the other side. So left hand to the right knee, creating length on the inhale in the spine, and then exhaling, seeing if you can twist slightly deeper. Gazing over the right shoulder. Bringing it back to center again, and we'll come onto all fours. So hands and wrists directly underneath the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. We'll take some cat-cows to warm up, so dropping the belly down on an inhale, opening up through the chest, looking up, and then exhaling, rounding through the spine, curling the tailbone under. Inhaling again, belly down to the mat, exhaling, grounding through the spine. We'll take one more here, opening up through the chest on an inhale, and an exhale, rounding everything through. We'll tuck the toes here, and then lift the knees and just hover here, turning everything on. So creating, really pressing into the ground beneath you, spreading the fingertips wide, and protracting the muscle, the shoulder blades. So really pressing down into the earth. We're holding here, and then seeing if you can, lifting your right knee up to the sky. So right foot up to the sky, keeping that bend in the left leg, and bring it back down again. And take it on the other side. So lifting the left foot up to the sky, feeling the core turn on, and then bringing it back down again. Nice. We'll bring the knees back down. Maybe walk the hands slightly forward, and then curling up, bringing the hips all the way up into our first downward dog. So you can keep a bend here in the knees in your first downward dog. And whenever you get there, just pedaling it out. So bending one knee, bringing one heel down to the mat, and then the other. Focusing here again on creating length through the spine. So not worry too much about having straight legs or having your heels touching the mat, but just keeping that length in the spine. And if that means having a bend in the knees, then that's totally fine. Pressing the earth away from you here again. Breathing into the belly. And then on an inhale, we'll lift the right leg up to the sky, straightening up through the leg, coming into a three-legged dog. When you get here, bending the knee, opening the hips, open to the side. So the foot comes towards the bum. And we're just opening here, breathing into the side body. Straighten up through the right leg again. And then exhale, we'll hug it into the chest, hovering here for a moment. And then place the foot up in between the hands. Nice work. Dropping the back knee down. We'll set up for low lunge. So fingertips are on the mat, and then we'll hug in through the inner thighs. Hands come above the head. Grabbing a hold of both thumbs here. Seeing if you can bring the chest forward and sink further down into your low lunge here. And then bringing the hands together, we're going to bring the left elbow over the right knee and come into a twist. gazing over the right shoulder. Hands come back down to the mat, and we'll bring the hips towards the heels here, coming into half splits. So right foot, toes of the right foot point up to the sky. Inhaling, we create length in the spine, and then exhaling, just folding forward. Fingertips just resting on the mat. Bringing the breath, sinking down into the pose. And then inhaling, looking up at the foot again, rolling back onto the foot. We'll plant both hands into the mat and come into plank pose. Here you can have your feet together or feet hips distance. And we're going to hold for one more moment in plank before we start to bend the elbows, hugging the elbows into the chest and lowering the belly all the way down to the mat. When we get here, we'll set up for Sphinx pose. So bringing our forearms directly, elbows are directly underneath the shoulders. Palms just rest on the mat. Gazing off in front of us. And if you want to go slightly deeper here, you can straighten up and come into seal pose, just engaging the glutes as you do, or staying where you are. Nice, bringing the belly back down again. Hands are directly under the shoulders. We'll tuck the toes and come back up into plank pose and then back into downward dog. Again, feet are hips distance here. Hands are shoulders width. And on an inhale, we'll lift the left leg all the way up to the sky, coming into three-legged dog, keeping a slight bend in the right knee if that feels better. And then here, opening again. So bending the knee, bringing the heel towards the bum. Hips open up towards the left side of the mat. Breathing deeply here. Straightening up through the leg again. And on an exhale, we'll hug the knee into the chest. So bringing the knee towards the nose. And then stepping the foot up as best you can in between the hands as we drop the back knee down, setting up for low lunge again. Creating length in the spine, hands come up above the head. And again, this time grabbing both thumbs together as you press the arms back. Open up through the chest to the front body, and then bring the hands together. Bring in the right elbow to the outside of the left knee, twisting and looking towards the back of the mat. Nice. Bringing the hands back down here, and then we'll set up for half splits. So straightening up through the front leg, toes point up to the sky, that foot's engaged. And then we send the hips back towards the heel, just feeling a deep stretch here in the hamstring. Fingertips can just rest anywhere on the mat. Taking a deep inhale, create as much length as you can on the spine, and then exhaling, letting the head drop down wherever it lands. So throughout the practice, not worrying too much about what the pose looks like or should look like, just really focusing on the sensations. If you're feeling a stretch, if you're feeling the pose, then that's where you need to be. That's your edge. One more breath here. And then we'll roll back through that foot, plant the hands, and come back into plank pose. High plank here. Exhaling, we'll lower down. Coming into all the way down here and coming up to cobra. Or you can pick chaturanga, but I think we'll all take cobra. Low cobra here, so engaging the glutes, hugging the elbows in, gazing ahead, and then tucking the toes, coming back up to plank. And then back into downward dog. Nice work. Taking a breath in down dog. Inhaling through the nose, opening the mouth and sighing everything out. Take it one more time. Deep inhale through the nose and then opening your mouth and then letting everything go. Nice. Inhaling, looking up in between the hands, and you can step, float, or walk the feet to the top of that mat. Feet together or hips distance, again, your choice. And come into a flat back position, so you can have your hands on your shins or your thighs. And then exhaling, folding down, letting the head come down towards the mat.
Fingertips may touch the mat, they may not. If it feels better to have a slight bend in the knees, that's fine. And then one vertebra at a time, we're going to roll the spine all the way up to the top. And when you get there, head comes last. Roll the shoulders down along the back. When we get there, keep our eyes closed, and we're just in Tadasana pose, mountain pose. So feeling into the body, feeling the feet rooting down into the earth, and feeling the crown of the head lengthen up towards the sky. Bat the eyelids open, and on an inhale, we'll bring the hands all the way up above the head. Palms kiss, and then folding forward, coming down into forward fold. Inhaling, coming into a flat back position. Again, hands can come on the thighs, on the shins. And then planting the hands down, bringing one foot back and then the other. We'll meet in plank pose. Exhaling, hugging the elbows in, lowering down again, all the way down to cobra, or coming up into chaturanga, an upward facing dog. Engaging the glutes here, pressing the earth away, and then exhaling, coming back into down dog. Nice work. From here, we'll inhale, lift the right leg up to the sky again, three-legged dog. Exhaling, hugging it into the chest, and then planting it up in between the hands. This time, lifting the back knee up, we'll set up for high lunge. Hands come above the head. In high lunge. From here, bring the weight into the right foot, so really just getting ready to float the back foot all the way up to the top. So getting your balance, seeing if you can do this without letting the foot touch the floor, and we'll hug the knee into the chest here. And then staying here, we're going to set up for a twist. So grabbing a hold of the outside of the knee, so balancing here, and then we're twisting here, seeing if we can gaze back over the left shoulder. And if you want to go deeper, you can grab a hold of the foot or the toes, whatever works for you. I'm struggling with balance this morning, I can tell. And then we'll bring it back up again, facing forward, hands above the head, and we'll extend the foot out, so pointing the foot up in front of us. Lifting it up as much as we can, and then hands come to heart center as we float that foot back, coming into kind of a warrior three for a moment before dropping the foot back down and setting up for warrior two. So coming onto the outside edge of the back foot, we're bending out into the front knee and setting up. So maybe taking a slightly wider stance than you think. And then when you get there, opening up through the hands, coming to a T, and gazing over the right fingertips. Warrior two. Pressing down into the earth. Again, bringing the breath. Looking over the right fingertips, and on an inhale, we'll bring them forward, bring the shoulders forward, flip the palm, and come up into a reverse warrior. And while we do this, we'll bring the left hand forward, so kind of pointing towards the front foot. So you've got that dual action going on. And then here, as if you're carrying a big ball up and over, the left hand comes up, and the right hand can now point towards the back foot. We'll take that a few more times, so inhaling. Reverse warrior. And then exhaling here. Side angle. Coming back up into warrior two. We'll straighten up through the front leg. Coming into a reverse triangle here. Before bringing it back, so getting a slight stretch. And then here we're just going to shorten the stance, so bringing the back foot in. Keeping that same angle though, more or less, as we bring the hips to face the front this time. And hands can just stay on the hips. Or we can bring them up overhead as we set up for pyramid pose. So inhaling, creating length, and then exhaling, letting the hands come down. Breathing here. So hands can rest on the shin or wherever they do, just let them rest wherever they do. And you should be feeling a nice stretch in the back of the hamstring here. Inhaling, coming into a flat back position, and we'll plant the hands and walk back into a plank pose. So you can either take a vinyasa here, which is just the cobra or chaturanga upward facing dog, or just meet back in downward dog, whatever works for you. So if you're taking the vinyasa, hugging the elbows into the chest, coming into chaturanga, and then upward dog, pressing the earth away from you, shoulder blades rolled back, exhaling, coming into downward dog. Taking a breath in downward dog, maybe feeling a slight difference in the right side of the body, in the right glute compared to the left. I'm going to take one more breath. Just get our breath back before we take it on the other side. So planting the weight into the right foot as we lift the left foot up to the sky, coming into three-legged dog. Hugging the knee into the chest for a moment, and then we'll plant it up in between the hands, setting up for high lunge. So once you've got your balance, really hugging in between the inner thighs here, turning the core on, hands come above the head. Gazing up in between the hands if you can. Once you've got your balance, hands come to heart center, and we'll float the back leg up and hug the knee into the chest here, just letting it hover, setting up, so grabbing a hold of the outside of the knee with the left hand as we start to see if we can extend through the right arm and maybe start to gaze back towards the back of the mat. Feeling the length through the crown of the head, core is turned on, good work here. Again, you can stay like this, or if you want to go for the extra challenge, if your balance feels great, then you can start to extend through the front leg. If not, we'll bring it back to center. Hands come above the head as we straighten and extend out through the front leg, lifting as much as we can, trying to create as much length. And then hands come to heart center as we float the leg back, keeping a micro bend in the standing leg. We're really working on balance here. We're in a kind of a warrior 3 variation, and then we'll, as gracefully as we can, drop the back leg to the back of the mat, and we'll set up for warrior 2. So you've done this before, you know what's coming. So we're in warrior 2, so take a moment to just kind of get comfortable in your warrior 2 here, bending the front leg, really rooting down into the knife edge of the back leg, opening up through the arms. Taking a deep breath here, and gazing over the left fingertips. And then we'll flip the palm on an inhale, bring the shoulders forward, and come up into reverse warrior, as again, we're bringing the right hand down here, facing towards the left foot. Really getting that dual pull, push-pull action here. And then exhaling, coming into a side angle. The left arm extends out towards the back foot. Bringing that big ball up and over. Take it one more time, reverse warrior. And then back into side angle. Remember to breathe through it. Nice. Coming back up into warrior 2. And from here, straighten up through the front leg again. Coming into a reverse triangle, getting a side stretch here. And then coming back, we'll shorten the stance and set up for pyramid pose. So this time hips are facing towards the front of the mat, arms come above the head. And then exhale, hands come down. Long exhale here. Hugging the outer left hip in here. Maybe keeping a micro bend in the knee, just to avoid hyperextending. Head drops down. And take a moment to really see if you can enjoy that sensation, that stretch. And tell the body that there's nothing to worry about. Inhaling, coming into a flat back. and we'll plant the hands again, come back into a plank pose, lower all the way down here to chaturanga and upward dog, taking cobra, and then come back onto the knees, and we'll set up for a child's pose. So big toes together, knees wide, chest falls down, melts down to the mat. Arms extend towards the top of the mat. And just taking a moment to feel the deep inhales and exhales, to feel the back expand on every inhale, and seeing if you can melt the body down into the mat on every exhale. Nice work. Inhaling, we'll look up in between the hands again and come onto all fours, and then just cross the legs as we set up for a seated position. So just rolling down, rolling back here, extending the legs in front of us. In fact, we'll come into Janushirasana, so head to knee pose. So bringing the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. We'll set up here, hands come above the head, creating length, and then exhaling as if you're passing a ball over to someone in front of you. Hands come down and just rest wherever. You can grab a hold of the thigh, the shin, the ankle, the foot. As we hold here for a couple of breaths. Breathing into it. And the reason why we do these long and deep inhales and exhales is because it just engages the parasympathetic nervous system in the body, which just lets the body know that there's nothing to worry about, and will avoid it tensing up unnecessarily. So it really activates that rest and restore and digest kind of aspect to the body and the nervous system. Which means that when the muscles tend to relax, that means that then we can get deeper into the pose, because partly all it is your nervous system trying to protect itself. So holding here, one last inhale and exhale, and then we'll look up at the foot, walk back up again. And here we'll bring the right hand behind us, left hand behind us, as we lift the hips up to the sky, opening up through the front body here, gazing up at the hand, and then bring the hips back down again. Awesome. Bring it to the other side. So the sole of the right foot to the inside of the left thigh, setting up to kind of face the left foot as the hands come up above the head. And then again, really taking that length with us as we go. Hands come down, rest wherever. And then just letting the head drop down. You might feel a stretch in the hamstring. You might feel a stretch in the lower back area here on the right side as well. This is really good for anyone who spends a lot of time sitting. Just opens up that whole back area, lower back. So bringing the breath if you've lost it. We're here for one more moment, and then inhaling, looking up at the foot. Hands come above the head. Right hand comes behind us, and then left hand comes all the way up as we lift the hips all the way up to the sky. Really feeling a stretch in the whole of the left side of the body. And then hips come back down again. Nice. We'll bring both feet, soles of the feet together, setting up for cobbler's pose. So just kind of taking a moment to get comfortable here. Don't worry about having your feet too really, really close in. You just have them wherever feels comfortable. And then grabbing a hold of the outsides of the feet. We'll create length, shoulders drop down, and then exhaling here, coming forward. So you can see what feels good for you. If you want to have your elbows on the outsides of your shins, or if you feel like it's easier for you to pry Pry open with the elbows here on the insides of the shins. Wherever you are, seeing if you can keep that length in the spine, and then lowering the head down. Breathing deep into the belly, bringing awareness to that area of the body, and seeing if you can soften those muscles on every exhale. One more breath. And then inhaling, lifting the head back up again. We'll grab a hold of the outsides of the knees, bring them together, and we'll just scooch forward onto the mat, soles of the feet on the mat, and then we'll lower down here, coming onto our backs. Maybe bringing the heels in slightly so you can just touch them with your fingertips, touch the Achilles heels with your fingertips. Shoulder come down, so really tucking the shoulders underneath. And we'll set up for bridge pose here, so inhaling, pressing down into the feet as you lift the hips up to the sky. Hands can stay alongside the body, or you can interlace the fingers behind the back and roll onto the shoulders here for a deeper opening. So engaging the glutes here, really pressing down into the feet, into the shoulders, getting as much opening as you can in the chest, in the front body. Holding here. And then exhaling, letting the hands go if you had them interlaced as you slowly roll the back down, one vertebrae at a time. Nice work. We'll bring the right foot up to the sky, bringing the outside of the right ankle to the outside of the left knee. We'll grab a hold of the knee here, the left knee, coming into figure 4. You can grab a hold of the behind the left thigh or the left shin, wherever you are, seeing as if you can pull the knee towards you and maybe using your elbow on the inside of the right leg to push it away from you. So that dual action going on here. Really getting into the outer hip muscles. Nice. And then bringing that foot back down. We'll bring the right foot down and take it on the other side. So lifting the left foot all the way up to the sky, bringing the outside of the left ankle to the outside of the right knee, and then grabbing a hold of the right hamstring or the right shin, whatever works for you, as you hug the knee into the chest and maybe push with the left elbow into the inside of the left leg, just pushing that leg away from you. Keeping the foot engaged here, the left foot really engaged, so toes pointing up to the sky. Breathing into the belly. And then releasing the pose. We'll bring both feet down again. In fact, hugging the knees into the chest. Maybe rocking side to side, giving yourself a little back massage. And then keeping the right leg engaged and hugged into the chest. We'll extend the left foot out on the mat. And then come into a twist here. So bringing the right leg all the way over towards the left. Extending out through the right arm towards the right as we gaze over the right shoulder. Coming into a really good spinal twist. Hugging the knee back into the chest, we'll take it on the other side. So bringing the left knee into the chest as you extend the right leg out and then bring it all the way over. Extend out through the left arm. And gazing over the left shoulder. So don't worry at all about having your shoulder or your knee down on the floor here. Just as long as you can feel the stretch in the mid-back area, that's great. Breathing into the belly. This pose is great also for giving all the organs a bit of a massage. And then we'll hug the left knee into the chest again, hug both knees into the chest again. Bringing the nose up to the knees, squeezing everything in, coming to a little ball. And then extending both legs out. Heels come to the both top corners of the mat, setting up for Shavasana pose, our final resting pose. Arms extend out. Palms face up to the sky. Rolling the shoulder blades down along the back. And maybe just rocking the head from side to side to just find a place where it wants to sit naturally. And then just feeling into the body here, allowing it to relax and melt down into the mat. There's nothing else you need to do here except for fully surrender and relax into the pose. So feeling into the body, seeing if there's any sensations that stand out to you. Maybe you can hear your heartbeat. Maybe you can feel some tingling or pulsing in the fingers and the hands. Just focusing on those sensations. And letting the breath return to a natural breathing rhythm. Taking a few more moments of silence. And if here your mind does wander, then that's totally normal. Just see if you can bring it back to focusing on the breath at the nose as a way of bringing you back into the present moment. Body grows heavy on the mat. And we'll take a couple of moments of stillness here. And then becoming aware of your surroundings again, of what's going on, of your environment. We'll bring a bit of movement back to the fingers and the toes. So maybe just wiggling the fingers and the toes. Maybe creating some circles with your wrists and your ankles. And then bringing the feet together at the bottom of the mat. Hands come overhead. And we'll come and take a full body stretch. Letting everything go. And then rolling over onto one side of the mat, keeping the eyes closed. Bending the knees here, just coming into kind of a fetal position. Just taking a moment to thank yourself for taking this time for yourself this morning. And then we'll continue the journey up, so keeping the eyes closed, but coming back into a cross-legged seated position, same way we started. Hands can just rest on the lap. Spine is long again. Relaxing any tension in the face and the forehead. And just noticing how you feel compared to how you felt at the beginning of the practice. Maybe there's a bit more clarity in your mind. Maybe you're feeling more strong, more energized, more refreshed, more relaxed, hopefully something. Wherever you are anyway, bringing your hands to heart center. We'll drop the chin down for the chest. I wish you a beautiful day, and hopefully you can take this with you, this feeling, throughout the rest of whatever it is you do with your day. One more deep inhale and exhale. Bat the eyelids open. Namaste.